What exactly is creator's block, or the more common term, writer's block? And what can you do once it strikes? Should you just give up your art and take a day job? Or are there ways to help you break through this block? What's going on, guys? Richard Rozza with the Personal Development Channel. In this episode, I'll be talking about creator's block. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and if at any point you like what you see, give it a little like. Let's get to it. Most creators have experienced creative block at one point or another, staring at an empty document on their computers or a blank page in their notebooks, or not sure what to post on Instagram, what kind of carousel or video. Either way, creative block can happen. This creative block is possibly as old as the art of writing itself, and it doesn't just happen to creators. Creatives from all walks of life, artists, musicians, poets, entrepreneurs, social media experts, marketeers, can all suffer from this sometimes. Sometimes inspiration just doesn't strike. But what exactly is creator's block, or the more common term, writer's block, and what can you do about it once it strikes? Should you just give up your art and take a day job, or are there ways to help you break through this block? Watch until the end if you want to know my 2 bonus fail-safe options. So what is writer's block? Webster's dictionary defines writer's block as a psychological inhibition preventing a writer from proceeding with a piece. The way it manifests itself is different from creator to creator. A Psychology Today article talks about the struggle of starting a new project and sticking with it, even when it gets hard. They call the process of getting it into the chair and staying there. And the reason why it's so hard to get started and find continuous inspiration varies greatly from person to person. While this block is commonly experienced by writers and creatives, some experts like writer and psychologist Susan Reynolds claim that it's just a myth and not a psychological condition at all. In her book and a 2015 Psychology Today article, Reynolds notes that the concept of writer's block originated in early 19th century when the English poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge first described his indefinite, indescribable terror at not being able to produce work he thought worthy of his talent. Soon thereafter, French writers latched onto the idea of a suffering connected to writing and expanded it to create this myth that all writers possessed a tortured soul and were unable to write without anguish. Reynolds states that the hard truth is that writing is a challenging mental process that involves uncomfortable aspects like experimentation, uncertainty, and vulnerability. She notes that writing requires more hardcore cognitive expenditure than many other lines of work. And that's why most creators struggle, not because of an inspiration-draining inhibition. Whether writer's block is a real psychological issue or a term coined to give the challenges of writing a somewhat fancy flair, the reasons behind the struggle are numerous. I'm going to first talk over 3 of the most common reasons for creator's block, and then I'm going to give you some ideas to help you get over this problem. So one of the biggest reasons is fear. Most creators struggle with fear of putting themselves and their ideas out there. When I reflect back now on my own personal journey, this fear was certainly there. I was worried about what people would think, even though I was clear in my head what I was going to do was helpful to some people. But along with this, you have the fear of being rejected by publishers if you're writing books, or your audience on social media maybe. And while fear is completely normal, it becomes a problem once it prevents you from creating anything new. Fear is possibly the biggest reason that some writers or creators just don't make it. And the next one of the next reasons is perfectionism. One of the most common blocks for writers and creatives of all walks is perfectionism. This might resonate with a lot of you. I can certainly give you my own experience with this. When I first started on this journey, I wanted everything to be perfect. From my content to my delivery, the video and the sound quality, all the way to what was in my background. If you go back to my original videos, either on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, you'll see that it's far from perfect in all those areas that I just said. And I ended up taking a leap. You won't be perfect. None of us are. Just get started. It's normal to want to do our very best. Most people use perfectionism as a protection mechanism to protect themselves from harsh critique or failure. Unfortunately, trying to write the perfect sentence or create the perfect carousel or the video will lead most creators to never writing or posting at all. So you just have to get started and don't worry about what people are going to say or whether it's going to be perfect. Nothing very rarely turns out perfect. And then the final reason I'm going to talk about just now before I start talking about the tips is self-criticism. We are our own worst critics. Excessive self-criticism is often what holds writers back from actually writing. Most writers compare their work with that of others, more successful writers, or even their own earlier work. And this can often spiral until we can't see our own work in a realistic light anymore, and nothing ever seems to be good enough. So let's delve into some tips you can use to help with creative block. The first one is redefine the problem to find it more compelling. Ask yourself something like, what if Winston Churchill was designing this video or this carousel? That will provide an unfamiliar angle and perhaps a new perspective. Number 2 is exercise. One of the best ways to beat a case of writer's block is by engaging in physical exercise. Exercise has been proven to reduce stress, focus the mind, increase productivity, and enhance the memory. In particular, aerobic exercise such as running encourages the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the part of the brain that allows us to imagine new situations. While more studies are needed, research suggests that regular exercise can improve creativity and creative problem solving, which are needed for creatives. So the next time you're stuck in front of a blank page, put your trainers on and go for a run. Okay, number 3 is switch tasks instead of dwelling on the same plot, twist, or trying to find a perfect image. Switch tasks and work on something completely different for a while. This could be another creative activity like painting, or something simple like walking the dog or cooking a nice meal. Switching tasks can be a good reset if you're feeling stuck. Okay, so number 4 is find your creative place and use it. I don't know why, but I can't tell you the amount of times I've had the majority of my ideas, whether it be business or new episodes, but I seem to have lots of ideas and creativity while I'm in the shower. I don't know why. You can ask me, but I really just have no idea why that happens. But I seem to have, when I look back, a lot of ideas while I'm in the shower. So reflect back on where you were and what you were doing when you came up with your best ideas. Then go back to that place if you can. But the trick is, if possible, to not make it purposeful, but part of your routine, so you're not thinking about creativity, it just happens. Okay, so number 5 is look for patterns in your episodes of creative block. Take notes when it happens, and you may notice that there's a trend. Maybe it happens mainly on Mondays, but have a look to see if there's a trend. Who knows? Number 6, change your scenery. Sometimes all it needs to clear the head and get some new ideas is just a change of scenery. Try working from a different environment like a coffee shop, or go outdoors if you can, or co-working space the next time you feel stuck and need some inspiration. Okay, number 7 is try free writing. The seemingly simple solution to writers or creators block is to just write. And while it's easier said than done, there are certain writing exercises that can help you get into the flow again. Free writing, or writing without rules, is a popular writing exercise. Start writing down any thought that might pop into your head without editing or censoring. The idea is just to let your imagination roam free. Set a timer for 5 minutes and write non-stop. Don't lift your pen from the paper or your fingers from your keyboard. After the exercise, read what you wrote and see if anything pops out that inspires you. Free writing takes practice, so give it a go and be patient the first few times that you try it out. So number 8 is do not disturb. We live in noisy times, surrounded by distractions and seemingly urgent interruptions to our work, whether it's emails, social media, a needy neighbour, or breaking news. Try creating a distraction-free space for yourself when you're writing or doing creative work. This includes both your physical space and mental space. Switch off all notifications, go offline if possible, and if you work from home, let co-workers or family members know that you have office hours. Number 9 is change your rhythm. Whether you're a self-proclaimed morning person or night owl, changing up your work rhythm can help you overcome your writer's block. In a 2013 article, Psychology Today referenced a study by the University of Michigan that showed many people have counterintuitive circadian rhythms, meaning our daily cycles of creativity via psychological and cognitive activity, and are actually more productive at the times we believe we are least productive. The study found that morning people who feel more productive in daytime hours are actually more adept at creative problem solving in the evening, and the opposite was true for those that claimed they were more focused at night. So give it a go. Try adjusting your sleeping times to your most creative working hours, or write down your creative ideas before going to bed and then follow up on them the next day. Okay, and number 10 is be bored. Yes, that is what I said. Okay, maybe not bored, but try doing nothing for a while. We are constantly distracted by noise and notifications, but research has showed that letting your mind wander can have beneficial effects on creativity. In the past, scientists considered mind wandering to be a waste of time. However, recent research has found that mind wandering or daydreaming is a highly engaged brain state that uses the same processes of the brain that foster imagination and creativity. So, if you're driving yourself crazy, trying to push through a block, just take a step back, find a peaceful spot, and let the mind wander. And then finally, number 11, strive for progress, not perfection. So one of the best ways to combat perfectionism is to remind yourself that you're merely working on the first draft. Thinking of your work as a first draft of many will take the pressure off to get it just right. It's always easier to rewrite, edit, tweak, and improve a piece of imperfect content than to try and get it right the first time round. It's similar for myself. When I first started recording videos, I was trying to get it perfect the first time, and I was putting so much pressure on myself. Now I know I can make a mistake. It's alright. I can piss it up. It doesn't matter, because I have to edit the video anyway. So if there is a mistake in it, I'll just edit it out. And if all else fails, you could try one of these bonus fail-safe options, but ideally you should be trying to not get to this point. So my first bonus tip: induce a feeling of panic by giving yourself a deadline and stating your commitment to other people. This is actually a tip that I found from a gentleman called Ben Barry. He was a graphic designer, or is a graphic designer at Facebook. If the very word deadline causes your psychic pain, consider making friends with the concept. And bonus tip 2, tip for social media marketers mostly, and it fits in again with that block from being a perfectionist that I mentioned a couple of times now. If you're still worried that the content or piece that you're writing is not perfect, then post it somewhere anonymously and gain feedback. You can create an Instagram page easier enough without anyone knowing who you are. Use that as your testing ground. The same can be done for most creators. I've shared 13 different ideas that you could use if you suffer from creator's block. Give one of them a go and tell me how you get on. And that brings us on to challenge time. So the next time you get creator's block, try one of the tips that I've just mentioned. However, as a challenge from me to you, I've got a special challenge and it's not one that I've mentioned just yet, but I'd be interested to see if any of you would like to take this challenge up. So the next time you get creator's block or writer's block, I want you to stop what you're doing immediately when you know that you're starting to get a block. Put some music on and then get straight in the shower. It sounds completely weird and strange, I know, and a bit random, but it's going to give you a complete change instantly. Having some music on, things, and then getting into a shower as well while you're listening to the music, it's going to change your thought process up. And what you might find, and I'm telling you this because this is what works for me, is obviously I've told you that when I get in the shower is when I seem to get ideas, but just try something completely different and hopefully it might work for you. Share your challenge experience with us in the YouTube comments or tag us on Instagram using @RozzaMindset. That's it for today, everyone. Hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed the content, give it a like. And if you'd like to be notified of when new episodes are released, then click the little notification bell. If you would like me to expand on anything you see, please comment below and I will look into it. Please share this with somebody you feel it could help with. And finally, come and join our community on Instagram, Facebook or LinkedIn. All the links are in the description below. This has been Richard Rozza. Stay safe and keep active.